All right, good morning, friends. We're live from the ASB Financial Studios in Fly on the Wall Productions, Main Street in Barre. Happy Monday. Welcome to a new week. This is it. I think this is the, what, Cody, the final, is this the final week of April?
It is, sadly.
Yeah, I believe it is.
My favorite month.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, you love April. That's right.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me that.
The weather gets better every single day for the next, 7 months?
Right.
6 months? Like,
Yeah.
how can you not love that?
I know, that's true. That's true. It's a good point. Cody Morrison with me each and every Monday with Barre Area Development's Barre Business Hour. And we have Margaret Ferguson, who's our special guest, sitting right next to you. Welcome, Margaret. I'm so happy to finally meet you. We've exchanged a few emails over the last, I don't know how long, at least a year, maybe longer.
Maybe longer,
Yeah,
yes.
maybe longer. It's a pleasure to have you in here.
I love this studio.
Isn't this incredible?
I love the way you've done this place.
Well, I've had a tremendous amount of help,
Yeah,
but
well,
we're
great.
very fortunate to be right here on the sidewalk of Main Street, Barre.
Where everything happens.
I like to say downtown USA because this is like the perfect example of just a small community, and to have our guests in the window, to see the movement and the activity and the vibrancy of what's happening behind us is we're very, very fortunate to be here. Cody, you and I have been doing this for a long time. Every Monday morning, introduce this lady right next to you.
So, somebody sitting to my right here, you and I have been talking about on air periodically for quite a while now. I don't think you can talk about growing small businesses in the Barre area without
Margaret Ferguson.
Without mentioning Margaret Ferguson. But as we can see from her pin here, business is good.
Yes.
And
I like that.
And Margaret here is with a Capstone's micro business development program. So her chief responsibility is to help entrepreneurs, people like you, JD, people that are looking to open a storefront in one of these buildings, people that are looking to take their operation maybe from out of their garage and onto Main Street, or even just looking to jump right in and go right into a storefront altogether.
That's right.
So Margaret is part of a team here in Barre that helps kind of, I don't want to say incubate, but helps process and helps point a lot of these entrepreneurs in the right direction.
That's right.
A lot of times I'll get a call from some up-and-comer in the community that wants to figure out how to get financing, wants to figure out how to write a business plan, the conversation 9 times out of 10 first starts with, I like that space, I want to open a store there. How do I go about doing it?
Right.
And there are plenty of examples of somebody going to maybe the Barre Partnership first and asking, then they get deferred over to me, vice versa.
Or vice versa,
but majority of the time,
Margaret Ferguson.
They go to Margaret.
So
she gets in the conversation very early.
So you're the catch net, Margaret. You're the big catch net. What is your official title? Is Capstone Community Action Education Management Consultant. Is that right?
No.
No, that's not it?
No.
What is it?
They call me a business counselor. Sometimes people say that I'm their cheerleader.
Okay.
But I kind of guide people.
Yeah.
I ask them lots of questions, and they ultimately need to write a business plan.
Yeah.
And most of the times people say, oh, I got it right here.
Right.
I know what I want to do. But once they start writing, and I am kind of old school.
Yep.
I give them templates, and there's a million of them out there. Yeah, I mean, you can get them from SCORE and SBA and every website there is about business. But it doesn't matter what template you have. What you really need is a pencil and a piece of paper, because you have some great ideas in the middle of the night.
Or when you're driving.
And you might not. Well, don't write while you're driving.
Well, that's what I do.
Talk to text.
That's what I do.
Well, you can have your tape recorder on or something and talk. And anyway. But you
got to capture it when it hits the noggin.
That's right.
You got to write it down.
Because you'll forget those great ideas.
Sure. Right.
And then you put it together, and you need to have it laid out so that a loan officer or somebody else who needs to know what you're doing can read it and understand what it is you want to do. And in the journey, you get your ideas in that were kind of floating out there, and you get some more streamlined. And then while you're going through the process, I try to, with Cody, I know he does the same thing, guide people to other people who can help them
Right.
network and get to the place they need to be.
Sure.
Introduce them to people that they will help them along the way.
Yeah.
Because we all have to help each other.
Yeah, that's so true. Businesses helping businesses,
Right.
which is, I think, something that we were gonna talk about this morning, Cody. But so, Capstone is one of.
So what is Capstone?
Yeah, it's like it's
So
one of five.
let's lay that out. So what is Capstone Community Action?
We are a lot of things. We do a lot. Capstone is located at 20 Gable Place, which is just on the side of Granite Street down here,
Yeah.
right in the heart of Barre City.
Yeah.
But we also work in Lamoille and Randolph. We have offices there as well. Capstone does many things. We have Head Start, we have Weatherization, we have housing, and we have crisis fuel. We have microbusiness. We have financial education classes that my coworkers teach every Wednesday at noon on Zoom still. And my coworkers are also going to be having some Business 101 classes coming up starting the first Thursday in May, going for 5 weeks. We always have had classes. We used to do them in person. Now they're on Zoom, so people... Last time we did one about record keeping and tax planning, we even had people from out of state tune in. It was amazing.
That's incredible.
I know.
So Capstone's one of 5 micro-business development programs in Vermont.
Correct. Every CAP agency in the state has a micro-business development program. So we all have business counselors. We work together.
So Capstone serves obviously Washington County, obviously Orange County, but also Lamoille?
Yes, that's where our Capstone here in Barre. We have offices in Morrisville and in Randolph.
The weekly deep dive. Tell me about that. It's something that I subscribe to, I read through, and when I do, wow, is what I'm saying. I would love to do this and that and this and that.
Yes. Our wonderful team down in Rutland at our Brock Microbusiness Development Program, Adam and Ben, they ask everybody in the state to help contribute to that weekly newsletter. They do a lot of work to get that out every Thursday.
Yeah.
Usually you can count on it being in your mailbox every Thursday about 4 o'clock.
Right.
You can set your clock by it.
Yeah, I
practically.
see that. Yeah, I know.
Yes, they do a great job, and they feature microbusiness. Any microbusiness can ask to be featured in it. That's always a nice little story at the end of the newsletter. They always talk about what is going on around the state, and some nuggets of wisdom for people who are in business.
And we have National Small Business Week that is coming up rather quickly. I think it's the beginning of May.
Well, for me, every day.
Yes, of
is
course it is.
my-
I see your pin. I see that. I know.
We should celebrate small businesses every day.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have such a nice life.
That's right. But these webinars are popping up everywhere. There's so many of them. And I know the 4th is going to be one of them
Yes.
by Zoom, obviously,
Yes.
but also part of National Small Business Week. And listen, this is the time to ask questions, even if you think that they might be dumb questions. When it comes to this kind of stuff, there's really no dumb question.
No. The problem is people
And
never
I've asked
know.
Cody plenty. Haven't I, Cody?
What? You know, we've been beating the drum for the type of stuff that we're talking about here today for several months, and it's a great. It's funny, actually, I think it was Friday, I was going out for a little late afternoon walk to stretch the legs, and I actually was approached by someone who we're actually both working with. A classic example of an entrepreneur that called us to figure out what can we do. I have this concept. I want to go about and open a store. So we gave some advice, we made a few connections, and it's kind of a perfect little example of what sort of business services are available here in the community.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I'm just glancing through your business series, your 5-part business series, which is so impressive. These workshops, are they all virtual at this point?
They still are, yes. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Social media, marketing 101, cash flow 101, business plan, business startup. I mean, these are all fantastic. What's the price tag on these to sign up for these?
It's very, very
reasonable.
Yes. It is free.
Wow.
And we can do it thanks to the help of the state and the federal government, who gives us Capstone funding so that we can offer these. And I've always wanted it so that we could have them to be so that anybody can take advantage of our workshops.
Yeah. Tell me about Rosie and Mary.
They're my wonderful coworkers. They work as a tag team doing the financial education classes. And they've been doing those for, I would say about a year now. And now they are going to do these business classes starting in May. There'll be a series of 5. So they're going to be really busy because they're doing the financial education classes at noon on Wednesdays. Those are for personal finance. And then on Thursday, they're going to do the business classes at noon.
Very busy.
They are. Everybody's busy.
Yeah. What's a typical day like for you?
Well, I've been working from home, so some days I think, I'm not doing much. Nobody's calling in the morning. And then by afternoon, the phone rings all the time. Mm-hmm. It's just you never know. I have started meeting with people individually in person now. This will be the first week.
Okay. So what's a micro-business? I'm guessing an example of a micro-business is where we are right here, this podcast.
That's true. People would have 1 to 5 employees. Mm-hmm. There's many people who work out of their house. It's amazing the kinds of businesses that are right here in central Vermont that are in their basement, in their garage, in their living room.
So as you explained that, I'm thinking about who would be an example of a micro business here in the downtown. You have 2 employees, less than 5. Probably Maria's Bagels, most of the Blanchard block, probably Richard J. Wabi Jewelers.
Maybe Beauvair's behind you?
Yeah, Beauvair's. Yes. Maybe Espresso Bueno. They probably have 5, probably have a few more than 5. But point being, though, a micro business is most of the businesses that that will sponsor your Little League teams, will go up and serve hot food at the food trucks events up in Courier Park. Micro businesses really are just the backbone of our business community here.
Sure. So, let's talk about this Embrace Grant, because this is something that Cody and I have. If there's one drum I think you and I have been beating louder than any other, it's probably
other than the Barre drum. Yeah. Other than the Barre drum, we've been beating this Embrace Grant drum, and it's actually exciting. I heard from one local business about a week ago that they were able to get one of the Embrace Grants, and they were able to purchase a few things that help them grow their business, which is exciting.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
But Margaret has a special involvement with the Embrace Grant, though, because that's a up to $5,000 kind of a mini grant for micro businesses with fewer than 5 employees. So this is right in your wheelhouse.
Sure.
Yes, it's income based, so you have to be 80% of federal median income. Mm-hmm. Embrace Grant, this is the third round that we've had, because last year we did it. And it's amazing how people who have a business can make that $5,000 stretch, so that when they need to buy their equipment, they're shopping to make sure they can get the most
for their buck.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you've got how long to spend that?
Until November 30th of this year.
Okay.
Usually people can spend it pretty quickly.
Oh, sure, of course.
And that program is still active, right?
It is.
Yeah. So I believe for anyone, for it's a startup, you have to have a business plan done within 60 days after hitting the send button on the application, I believe.
Yes. It's 90 days. But
90 days.
The sooner the better.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
So then you can get up and running.
Yep. So let's say if you had somebody come in right off the street that has a concept that they want to take, and they want to, this is a question that I, as a fellow person that consults businesses, grants. It's immediate. Maybe after where can I open my store, grants is usually the second question.
Yeah.
What type of funding is out there? Luckily, with programs like the Embrace Grant program, that is available. That is something that can be made a reality. So, if anyone out there wanted to go ahead and take the leap and start their small business, they would usually get in touch with who they would know. A lot of people don't know how to navigate that world because it's very new.
Yeah.
So they may get in touch with Tracy. They may get in touch with the mayor. Lucas Herring was great with that. I would get a lot of business from him. Or they may reach out to me. Then we would connect, and we'd try to figure out how we can make how we can make their dream a reality, how we can make them bankable, how we can kind of bring them to a place to where they can kind of mitigate their risk a little bit, get their feet under them, and help them realize that dream, purchase the equipment, the inventory, acquire the financing, form a relationship with the bank.
There's a lot to it. There's a lot to it. And yes. we say here that we're constantly evolving, constantly learning, and figuring stuff out as we go along. This is how it is.
Just when you think you know it, everything changes.
Exactly.
Technology changes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, I moved to Barre in 1974 to buy a business here on Main Street. As they say, they tore down the building and paved paradise. The building doesn't even exist anymore. But I came down, and thank goodness the loan officer would stay after hours so that I could come down here with my husband after 5 o'clock when we worked our regular job. And then we came down to meet with the loan officer and show him our business plan, and so that they would loan us the money to buy this existing business.
Yeah.
It was scary to come to a new town, but Barre was very welcoming.
And how long ago was this?
1974. Oh. Just like yesterday.
Yes. Yes.
A few minutes ago.
Yeah.
But I like to think that, Barre, now is my home, and the business people are so welcoming here. When somebody new comes in, you notice they always have the
ribbon
cutting, and the World newspaper and the Times Argus is always putting them in the paper. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it's great, and we love talking about them too. I mean, it's without our small businesses up and down North Main Street, we're dead in the water.
Well, JD, think about you're a micro business right here, and think of all the other businesses that have watched this show. We'll use this as an example. All the other businesses that have watched this show and that have listened to us, that have been able to kind of figure out the little pieces that they needed to take that next leap.
Right.
Your business is a great example of a micro business having a bigger impact in the community. I mean, the entire point of your business is to get the word out on stuff, to air it out.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, it's a great example of how just one or two people in a community can have such a big impact.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we see it. Of course we have some empty storefronts, and Cody and I have talked plenty about this. That's nothing that we try to duck and dodge. But we've got some fantastic growing stuff, some real vibrancy that's happening. The city looks great.
Mm-hmm. And now that it's spring, you just sweep the streets.
Well, we got them swept.
Yeah,
good to go here.
beautiful.
We've got Heritage Festival coming this summer. We're very excited about it.
Well, and another big downtown thing that we spearheaded, and I won't digress very quickly on this topic, but the Barre Auditorium project that we've been talking about. We submitted funding requests to our federal delegation last week that would bring
Awesome.
that would bring up to I think 6.2 million for the Barre Auditorium. So we're talking ADA accessibility upgrades,
Awesome.
electrical upgrades, air filtration systems, boiler, but most importantly, an air conditioner.
Yeah.
Air conditioning system. So the reason why we bring that up is the Barre Auditorium is such a huge magnet for economic activity here. People from throughout the state come. Not only is it mass vaccination site, the medical research center, not only does it have the great public health and emergency management qualities of it, but it's a huge driver for downtown businesses.
Sure.
We surveyed downtown businesses. Tracy and I did over 200 businesses seeking support for the project, and we had over 23 businesses that wanted to support this project just because they know more traffic downtown is good. It's generally a good thing, and the auditorium is what brought me to Barre as a kid. My dad would bring me to farm shows here in between chores, and we'd go to basketball tournaments. I remember going to R&L Archery and doing the indoor archery back when they were over at Wall Street.
Yes.
Like that's
Yes.
And so
Well, we have the gun show.
the gun show. So
My goodness, and Vast used to do a huge snowmobile show up there. It was car shows, everything.
yep,
Used to
so
be home shows. That was
Yeah.
my favorite.
the little things like that
that's
are
right.
little things like that, or big things like
Yeah.
big things like that are what contribute to the vibrancy of a community,
Right.
and it's just one spoke of a bigger wheel of Barre's kind of economic ecosystem.
Yeah, and not even to begin to mention local sports, high school sports.
Oh,
up
yeah.
there. I mean, it's we need that more than anything. So that's so exciting. You're going to keep me up to speed on that.
Oh yeah,
How that's going.
well, it's literally an act of Congress, so it'll take a little while to figure out if we get it. But
Okay.
but we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope that people in Congress, like Senator / President Manchin, Kirsten Sinema, hopefully those people in the Senate, those troublemakers in the Senate, want to keep the project in the budget,
Right.
just because of the importance. But we have a lot of support for it, so we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah. These buildings have been up there for a very long time. They need some TLC. So
Yep. Well, that's not those buildings specifically, but if we're talking about old buildings, residential housing stock, Capstone has an awesome weatherization program.
yes, they do.
That can
Yes,
help.
they do.
That can help modernize some
Yeah.
of those systems, help seal the envelope of your home.
And Sue Minter's been in here to talk about it. Dick Wappy's been in here to talk about all the great things that you've done. We had Chef Joey in here not too long ago. I'll never forget that podcast. What a ticket she is.
Yes.
But Sue is always talking about Fuel Your Neighbors program and how much money is coming into that to help Vermonters everywhere. We have a lot of aging homes
You do.
and aging population that need their homes tightened up, buttoned up, better for the winter. What about this community navigator pilot program? Has that expired? I think that did.
So that has that became oversubscribed pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That's another grant program that's similar to the Embrace grant. It's a $5,000 mini grant for businesses. It had a few different restrictions. I don't think it had the income limit restriction that the Embrace grant did, but I'm aware of a few businesses and organizations in the community that ended up getting them, which is good. It's going to help them, professional services, marketing, financial management, legal services.
And that was driven by the SBA, right? I think it was.
Yeah, so that's an SBA program that was kind of punted down to like a cohort of 10 organizations in Vermont.
Yeah. Morse Block Deli, Stefano Cupola is singing your praises in the comments this morning. You helped him. You helped him launch. You helped him get
Yes.
started.
He bought a business here in Barre. That's another thing, is that so many people are aging like I am,
Yeah.
and they're business owners. And, Stefano purchased one that had been started here, and now look how great that business is. I mean, you
Sure.
go get a sandwich, and it's delicious.
I know. So what's the business startup basics with Mary and Rosie? This is right around the corner. This is May 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that you should pre-register for and get on board for. Let them know that you're going to.
They can.
Okay.
You need to get the link. So if they wanted to, they could email me, and I'll send the link to them.
Okay.
It's on our website, capstonevt.org.
Yeah.
Yes. However, if you're like me, sometimes you don't know whether you're going to have the time to do it or not. And then all of a sudden it opens up.
Sure.
You can just hop on. We'll love to have people last minute. It's fine.
All right. And then shifting past that, May 12th is the writing a business plan,
Mm-hmm.
which is
All of the components of those workshops that they're doing
mhm.
are pieces of the business plan. So if everybody does a little homework each week,
Mhm.
they could have their business plan finished, or something written in every section by the end of that 5-week series.
Okay.
You may not have it, the little detailed in, but write something every day and you'll have it done.
Part 3 is the cash flow part, which is, of course, understanding, having a real thorough understanding of the relationship between what's coming in and what you need that's going out.
Yes.
And a lot of us have that, honestly, upside down.
Well, sometimes people come in and they haven't started their business or anything and say, this is kind of like guessing.
Yeah.
And I go, yes, but it's going to be an educated guess.
True.
Number one, what's good about Rosie and Mary's personal financial classes is that you learn about your own personal family budget.
Sure.
Because first of all, you got to know how much money it's going to cost you for that.
Yeah.
And then your own business, that business has its own financial life. And so you've got to figure out how much it's going to cost just to break even.
That's right. That's so interesting.
And if the point of most people is to go into business to earn a living.
Yeah.
So you have to think about how much you need for your family budget
Mhm.
and how much your business needs, and hopefully make enough for all of that.
Right.
And then pay yourself first.
Yeah.
Although it's always last, because you have to pay everybody else first.
Right. Yeah.
Put away a little money for your
Ooh, that
retirement.
gets funky. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, when you've got all this figured out, then you dive deep into marketing and advertising and promotion
Correct.
and
salesmanship.
And frankly, if you're not utilizing and taking advantage of social media, good luck, because you've got to,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where everything's going.
A lot of times you love what you're doing.
Sure.
You're making or whatever, and you think, oh, I don't want to sell it.
Yeah.
I'm not a salesperson. But a lot of times you need to educate your customer so that they know what your product or service can do for them.
Sure.
And so you need to educate your customer. So you're not really selling, you are helping them solve a problem.
That's right. That's right. And the visual representation of everything is so important too. I mean, look at what Shannon Alexander does. You can sell stuff and concepts of things without using a single word.
Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Visual.
picture speaks 1,000 words, and Shannon's probably in the millions now.
Yeah,
With
that's
as
right.
many stories that
That's true.
that she's helped tell around the Barre community.
Yeah, it's true.
So one question that I had from a member of the public, just regarding starting your own business. And so what happens? So what do you do if you're putting together your business plan, things like that are going well, you're starting to get the marketing, you're starting to get some of your ducks in a row, and all of a sudden now you're advancing to the point where you can start looking at the money part. And let's say if you are someone that is looking to, let's say, open a retail store, or is looking to open like a professional services company, or something that you will require you to buy inventory. What financing, what options, what ways are there to get money to help that, whether it be grant, credit, loan? The Embrace Grant program we talked about, that's one that would be available for micro businesses. One question that I always ask somebody that is going through kind of the steps and figuring out how they want to go about is I ask them who they bank with. Having a good relationship with your, like, let's say if you have a mortgage through Community National Bank or Northfield Savings Bank or any one of the lending institutions here in the community.
Vermont Community Loan Fund.
That would demonstrate that you would already have, if you have your mortgage through a local lender here, then you already have a pre-existing relationship built with somebody. And there are business credit cards, there are credit lines that can be acquired, kind of short of an actual business loan. We've got Vermont Community Capital and Community Loan Fund here that can help with some of the business financing part. The Barre Revolving Loan Fund program, which is Barre Area Development's job creation and job retention loan program here for Barre businesses. Anyone that wants to buy equipment or needs working capital, wants to buy some brand new equipment, but also needs a little extra money to maybe bring on a new staff person or do some other technical assistance, professional service things. But what else? What other ways would there be to fund a startup?
I think you've listed lots of them. Usually, there is no grant money, so this is a unique opportunity that we have the Embrace Grant now. But most of the time, in my 23 years of being with micro business, it's a rare opportunity that there was ever any real grant money. Most of the time, people need to go to the bank or community loan fund in order to get started. And you're talking about if people have a mortgage. Well, there's a lot of people who start a business that don't own a home. I'll tell you one place I do not want anybody to get any of their money from. I do not want them to use their 401k. Do not take any money out of your retirement to start a business. If a bank or a credit union or a loan fund will not loan you money, do not take it from your retirement fund. That's my advice to you.
10% penalty.
Well, not that. You lose everything. Forget it.
Yeah.
The
dead
bank,
on right.
You need to write a plan. You need to know your business plan inside and out. If your bank is questioning your business plan, then you need to be questioning it and show them how you're going to make money at this business. I have started quite a few businesses in my life, and I have to tell you I did use a credit card once, but that can get you in big trouble too, because the interest rate's high.
Right.
So it's always better to have a bank. Take one of Rosie and Mary's financial classes about how to build your credit so that you can have a relationship with a bank or credit union or loan fund. But do not, you heard it here, do not use your retirement fund for building a business. Forget it.
She's scaring me.
No,
I wouldn't even think about it now.
But as someone starts to get creative and they're thinking about how to come up with essentially a big infusion of cash in a short time for a dedicated purpose, then the knee-jerk reaction, a lot of people would immediately think home equity, would think of their retirement fund.
Sure.
Another question that I'll ask potential startups and entrepreneurs is if they'd be fine partnering with a financial backer, if they'd want an investor, if they'd be willing to maybe sell half their company to help fund some of that. In Barre City, we do have an opportunity zone here, which that's a federal tax designation that basically gives tax breaks and incentives to people that want to invest in Barre businesses. The zone is essentially the other side of Main Street and back. kind of back I think a half mile or so. It's basically the other end of Main Street, that main area.
Do you think that zone might expand
Nope.
at some point?
Nope.
Okay.
No, so that's the zones were picked. Those were I think gubernatorial nominations for zones, and that was a program or a status that was created through the 2017 tax bill. So I don't see that ever. I mean, will some Congress in the future want to modify the program or expand upon it? Maybe. But that's not something that I foresee. Foresee expanding. But another way to also get capital is friends, family, anyone that wants to personally lend or invest in your company.
Yeah. And there's some tax breaks if you want to fix up your building. You don't have to worry about paying the difference for quite a while.
But that's something that usually doesn't come in the micro business line too often. More often, 9 times out of 10, somebody with an entrepreneur that wants to take their idea to Main Street, for lack of a better term, they're usually going to be leasing. They're usually going to be renting a space here.
Yeah.
Usually not. Usually they won't have the capital. If they have the capital to be, if they're bankable enough, if they have the capital to be able to go and buy, let's say, $150,000 or $250,000 downtown building, and make those improvements, then we might not even be in touch.
Yeah.
But
that tax stabilization.
But it's enticing for the landlord. Potentially.
Yes.
So
that's it.
If you need to if you're in an older building and you go to a property owner and say, hey, I'll sign a 5-year lease if you're willing to make a handful of improvements.
Sure.
The city and the town of Barre have a Municipal Tax Stabilization Program that helps lighten the tax burden a little bit after you renovate your property.
That's right. So you don't wake up one morning going, holy crap, what have I done?
Well, I think a lot of business owners wake up
Yes.
saying that every morning, especially during the startup phase. But
right. When the honeymoon has passed.
No.
Just got a couple of comments and questions here. Would love to have a business showcase at the BOR sometime, which would be great. Would be great. And has the labor, and question for both of you, has the labor shortage made it difficult to start a business or turned people off to the idea of starting a business? Thoughts on that? I mean, there's so many incentives right now with what's going on.
And Margaret, you can come in here at any time and correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've been seeing, usually somebody that wants to open a business, like a micro business, an entrepreneur, with fewer than 5 employees, the labor shortage hasn't impacted that too much. I think there are other factors that have a bigger impact regarding that. However, if you are, let's say if you're starting a restaurant, or if you want to start let's say like a manufacturing facility, if you're kind of stepping up the scale of it, then that can certainly have an impact on it. I've had, but if you are, let's say if you're looking to open a bookstore or a flower shop or something to that effect, right here in the downtown, it's usually an entrepreneur and their spouse that will be working on it, and maybe another family friend or two.
And their kids.
And their kids. And a lot of times, an entrepreneur's first idea will be to think, oh, okay, my friend Jimmy can help me. My friend Sandy can help me. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that stuff is kind of figured out beforehand from a micro business standpoint. Mm-hmm. But once you get bigger, again, if you're a manufacturing facility, if you're a bigger restaurant, then certainly. Yeah.
We encourage everyone to learn about these programs. What's the big umbrella here? Is it just the website to get onto to learn about all of the business series, the micro business development program?
They can go to, these are the letters of Micro Business Development Program. It's mbdp.org. Mm-hmm. Is a statewide.
That's right.
And that's where the newsletter is. That's where they'll find all the workshops for everybody around the state, because each micro business is putting on their own series, and we collaborate together.
Right here at Capstone? Is it just capstonevt.org?
Yes.
All right. And you can you can download this business series here, this 5-part business
Yes.
series,
Yes, you can.
with all of the information you need.
You can.
Okay.
And those links have been included in the chat here for
Thank you.
anybody looking at home. We've got the Capstone's microbusiness program with your contact information. We've got the state's microbusiness program that you just mentioned, Margaret, and we've also got kind of a business resource page from our website, barrevt.com, that's been linked in there for anyone's reading pleasure.
This guy has been coming in here every Monday, and we refer
Air it
to
out.
him. Yeah, we refer to him as the kind of the liaison between the personal and professional relationships in our community and tying people together. He's dialed into it real tight. He knows what's going on.
Yes, Cody networks. He gets people connected.
Yeah, he does big time.
Trying to make friends.
Big time. Yeah.
Always trying to make friends, but a big responsibility, a big thing that we do. Our main focus is growing the local economy here. It's kind of
right.
broader economic growth,
Yeah.
but a big part of that is being the liaison, being kind of the translator, if you will,
Yeah.
between the private sector and business and government.
That's right.
So we are a publicly funded organization, and with a focus on business growth and economic development. So.
And he's not just watching North Main Street. He's over the entire city and Barre Town too.
I know.
Just
absolutely.
huge. It's covering a few miles.
Well, and we have to be aware of what's happening throughout the state, throughout the country, throughout the world.
Yeah.
We've talked about global events here. We've talked about regional events that have been going on here. Josh Howard mentioned Hobby Lobby.
I was just going to mention
They open November. Later this year,
I was just going
believe.
to ask you that. Yeah.
And
Sherilyn was wondering over the weekend when they're going to open.
and that's something, Hobby Lobby opening up in Berlin, even though it's outside of Barre, it's outside of what where our geographic area, Barre City, Barre Town. That's something that benefits Barre, because a major brand name like that is going. There's not a ton of them here in Vermont. And especially not a ton of them here in central Vermont. So a big major brand name like that is going to attract people from easily an hour away.
Yeah.
And people are going to hear, oh, there's a Hobby Lobby in Berlin.
Yeah.
Which also benefits Barre because of the kind
Proximity.
of the overlapping of the zip codes.
Sure.
A lot of people refer to Berlin as Barre. So we get a lot of free. The Barre community gets a lot of free marketing essentially because of that. And if you have somebody from Lebanon or Rutland coming up here, they're going to have to go out to get lunch somewhere, and they may not want to go to Applebee's. They may want to go to the Quarry or Cornerstone or Gusto's or wherever, the Meltdown. So they're going to have to shop somewhere. They're going to have to get gas somewhere. So it's good. It's good for the region.
It sure is, and you have to, and I know you do, keep an eye on what's going on in our surrounding communities, because it definitely impacts traffic and flow, for sure.
Yep.
BarreVT.com is your site, Cody, and it's getting plenty of hits every week, every month.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially as we get into real tourism right now. This is when a lot of people are coming up north.
Yep, and people are starting to stretch their legs and hop in the cars and make their daily road trips. So Barre's a great place to go and do that. You can go to Hope Cemetery. You can go to the Granite Museum. You can go to Studio Place Arts. You can go to any.
Sure.
The Quarry tours are going to be opening up at Rock of Ages pretty soon.
Yeah.
Thunder Road is going to be opening
That's
soon.
right.
That's going to be
That's right.
exciting.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of excitement going on around Barre right now.
A lot of traffic coming off Exit 7, which is exciting, and it's what we want.
And Exit 6.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't forget Barre Town.
You're right.
JD, can't forget Barre Town.
Absolutely.
Come on.
I know.
And
It's so true, though.
And
So true.
and a lot of businesses here, like not only are we getting a lot of tourism traffic here, but a lot of people are looking to invest. You've got people that are buying up buildings and rehabbing them. You've got people that, the granite industry is booming right now.
Sure.
Logistics companies are those that are involved in logistics, automotive, they're looking to expand.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great activity right here.
Sure is.
And one example of a way that you can take your concept, you can continue to grow your business, you can start it. We have, there's one business in here that we've worked with. I've got permission from them to tell this story. Perfect example of where you can go for for kind of professional guidance to help you steer you in the right direction is Little Buddy Beauty Supply. Gal by the name of Ismina Francois opened her store up on Prospect Street. So right. I mean,
really?
Stone's throw away from City Hall and from Gusto's.
No kidding.
Yep. So Ismina originally reached out to Tracy. Tracy Lewis, the Barre Partnership.
Yep.
Tracy helped her with some marketing stuff. So I believe
Nice.
her flag and her logo, Tracy helped design that. She's really good with the visual arts and the creative. Our constant introduction is that she does the fun stuff. I do the boring stuff.
Yeah.
But together we make everything work. So Ismina went to Tracy for help, and Tracy helped with the marketing stuff. I was then introduced to Ismina, and we helped kind of identify some financial resources to grow her business. She was able to partner with a local bank.
I love
and then we connected with Margaret, and Margaret was able to help her put together her business plan. And she's been growing. She's been getting some funding, and she's been growing her business ever since.
When I met Cody, I don't know how long ago, a year and a half ago, something like that. Is that about right?
Yep.
One of the first things that we talked about was having him here on the show and trying to answer the question, what is Barre Area Development and what does it do? And here we are, a year and a half later, still answering that question. Because
but now
it's a lot.
Showing. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a question that is never going to be fully answered, because our job is the economy, and our job is community development, economic development, and that is constantly changing. If you were to ask me what that meant on March 1st, 2020,
right.
And if you were to ask me a month later, that would have been completely different. I was trying to get hand sanitizer made at that point, and trying to hook people up with EIDL loans, and gradually watching the sky fall during the pandemic.
Both of you are doing the job of several.
Well, you need a good network to be able to do it, and you need a good team to be able to do it. I rely on Margaret I push a lot of people over to her.
Yeah.
And
Margaret,
and to Tracy
thing.
as well.
Yeah.
It's we're lucky here to have such a strong team of business services that can be provided that can help local companies.
Yeah. Is right. Especially during tax time. If there were 3 Margaret Fergusons, they all would have been busy.
Yeah. The Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, Capstone's been doing it for many years. I started doing it in 2004, and it's been a long time. Anyway,
you got through it.
We did it. What a group of wonderful volunteers we have. We couldn't do it without them, I'm telling you. And sometimes I must thank everybody that when I make a phone call to somebody, I know that they think, Margaret's calling. She wants something. And I'm always glad that they say, yes, they'll help me. So I want this public forum to say thank you for always saying yes.
Right.
Sometimes it's not yes right now, but it'll be yes, I can help you next week or something,
Sure.
But I just want to know, I'm so glad when people say yes to me.
Yep.
Don't you feel that same way, Cody?
It's nice. It's fun when you can help somebody out, when you can make something tangible happen, and that's like you get a good feeling from it. It's good that you know that your guidance was able to help something tangible happen. However, though, I would say that a lot of the people that will come to us, the ideas may not come to fruition. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to give them the information that will help them make the best decisions.
Tools.
The tools to do what they need to do. Obviously, we would like every single business, our goal is for no business to fail, right? We don't want any business to get up and move, or we don't want any business to close for any reason. But we do live in a free market economy. We do live in we do have a capitalist economic system, so
Yeah.
business, and a lot of it is based off of risk and competition.
Sure.
Some businesses fail, some businesses thrive. We
Right.
try to make sure that businesses don't fail here. We
Sure.
do everything that we can to try to keep them here. Or
Yeah.
if there is somebody in trouble or anything, that's why people like Margaret
Right.
are great to help.
It's good for people to reach out before they get down to the, ask before you really are in trouble.
Yeah.
Always keep the lines of communication open. I will tell you that there's a story. This young woman came. She had a tiny baby. She came to my workshops. We used to have them in the conference room. And she came, and then I didn't hear from her. And then she came back again and took some more classes. And it was like 6 years. She finally started a restaurant. And she's still going today. But it wasn't the right time. I believe you can do everything you want to do, but it may not be exactly the right time.
Mm-hmm.
But she gathered all her information. She found out all the things she needed to do. She wrote her business plan. Her child got a little older. You see, it wasn't right for having that infant. She just couldn't make it work then. But once the child was in school, then she could do it.
Yeah. That's so wonderful.
Yeah, and these things can take a long time. So who calls me, assuming that I get a call or two from a business after during my walk back to the office from a viewer today, who I have a conversation with today, or who I refer to Margaret tomorrow, or
Sure.
Tracy, or to the small business or the Small Business Development Center, whoever it may be,
Yeah.
may open their store in 5 years.
Yeah. Right.
May
of
not
course.
be right away.
Of course.
Timing is everything. And your family's life and whatever's happening, it's got to all fit.
It sure does. It sure does.
I've started some businesses in my time. I had one that was only supposed to last 8 weeks, and in truth, that's all it did.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to not do that anymore. Sometimes, it took me 5 years to finally get this person to say, yes, I could do this.
Yeah.
I could have it. And then 8 weeks of doing that 12 hours a day, 7 days a week was
Of course.
enough.
Of course.
So, but that was an easy in and an easy out.
Yeah.
Some people, you invest a lot and you can't do that, but I was lucky.
Sure. If I've heard so many times that you could literally spend hours just on foot up and down North Main Street in Barre. I mean, there's so many different things. I mean, if you're stopping off at the quarry to have dinner, think about that faucet part that you might need to fix your sink over the weekend. Get over to Nelson's and kill two birds with one stone. And while you're at it, stop off at Exile on Main and have a look browse through some of the albums that they've got. They just had Record Store Day on Saturday.
Yep.
Sandy Thurston was just in here on the podcast talking about that. A business that is celebrating their 40th year here in the Granite City next month. Well, June. 40 years.
And that's a micro business.
Oh, sure.
I'm sure. I believe it's probably 3 or 4 of them that are over there.
Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a great example of a micro business.
Sure. Yeah. The downtown revitalization is something that Cody does a great job at going up 40,000 feet and looking down and then breaking things down, getting to the nuts and bolts of what makes our towns, our cities, our main streets, whether it's Barre City, whether it's Barre Town, what makes them click.
Trying to figure out how to make sense of everything coming down through the government, like
Sure.
the Embrace grant programs, the businesses in town that were able to get it, the
Right.
Community Navigator pilot program, that business grant program. While we may not write a grant for a specific business, there's a lot of different ways that we can help out.
Yeah.
There's one restaurant in the community during the restaurant revitalization, or what was that program called? The restaurant. Oh, it's escaped me. It was over a year ago now. There's one of the COVID restaurant relief programs.
Yeah.
There was one restaurant that was figuring out how to get a DUNS number and trying to figure out what that was. And it's something where us working in the nonprofit world, we know what a DUNS number is. It's one of those. It's kind of like another little social security number thing that you need
Sure.
to get money from the government, essentially.
Right.
But breaking that down to make it understandable by your average person that isn't fluent in government bureaucracy, and helping them, point them in the right direction to get that.
Yeah.
If they were able to get that money, then we did our job. Just something as little as that can
Sure.
really be a sticking point, and can, business owners they have enough trouble just buying inventory,
Sure.
keeping their shelves stocked, finding workers, keeping workers, staying in compliance with all the health regulations and everything, paying their quarterly taxes. They have enough to worry about.
Sure.
Without with COVID, you had all these new government regulations and programs come in, whereas a lot of them
It's confusing.
were really interacted with government for the first time during the pandemic. Most businesses have come across their local zoning or planning office and got a permit or like a liquor license, or they know to go to pay their property taxes. But beyond that,
Yeah.
a lot of businesses don't interact with government, which
Yeah.
is where we come in, and we try to translate it, and we try to make it make sense to people. It doesn't make sense to us a lot of times, but we do.
Right.
We do the best we can, and that's
Break
why
it down so we can all understand it.
Yep.
And that's what I think we do a pretty damn good job of that every
Yeah.
Monday.
I want to put out this little nugget of information. You were talking about the DUNS number, but the EIN number, which is an employer identification number, you get that from the irs.gov, and it is free. Free. Sometimes when you go on that website, they pull you into something else, and then they'll charge you money.
Seen
Yes.
that. Seen that.
Yeah.
So make sure you don't get hooked into that. Go to
Yeah.
irs.gov for your
I got
EIN
hooked
number.
into it. Yeah.
Companies will charge you like $300, $500 to get you a DUNS number or an EIN number, and that's basically, I could have all the paperwork finished and submit that for one of those within like half an hour.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's not a scam. It is a service. I wouldn't put it in the scam territory, but
Sure.
it's half an hour of paperwork online.
Yeah.
And it's something that I had a conversation with a local nonprofit about that very recently.
Yeah.
Everyone's working on tight budgets, tight margins, so
course.
little things like that. Before you go and consult a service like that, if it seems kind of odd, give us a call, give
Yeah.
the partnership a call, the city, Capstone, because we're here working in the public interest.
Cody has been speaking very highly of you, Margaret, for a long time. And we've talked about having you on. I'm finally glad that we were able to sneak you in here.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
And hopefully it's a reoccurring thing. Anytime, Margaret, you have something in the pipeline, a new workshop or something, you always have the chair's always open for you.
Thank
You can
you.
always come on
Absolutely.
in.
Please stay in touch with us.
Thank you.
Obviously, I'm watching my my Thursday afternoon email that comes in from you. How do we sign up for that? What's the best way to do that?
You go to the mbdp.org website and just sign up. So you want it. It's free.
Yeah.
You can't beat free.
No. And you'll find out what free classes you can
Yes.
take right here in Central Vermont.
And even if you don't go on any of the classes, though, the newsletter itself always has wonderful information every week.
Thank you both
Thank
so
you.
much for being here. Did we get everything, Cody, for today?
Check out the Barre Beat tonight.
Oh, that's right. Thank
yes,
you.
go to the Barre Beat tonight. I'm actually going to be joining Michael and everyone else to talk about
7 o'clock.
Yep, the Barre Auditorium project is going to be discussed tomorrow night at City Council. So I'm going to be joining everyone on the Barre Beat tonight to talk about what that is and just kind of break it down for the community. So today's a doubleheader for me.
Yeah, the Barre Beat podcast is something that's done right here on a totally different platform. That it's very it's local politics, heavy into that. And Michael Booten does a great job of that every Monday night at 7 o'clock. And there's tons of people that are watching that.
Yep, and that's if you go on Barre City Community fan page, Barre City Community fan page, or the Barre Beat podcast Facebook pages, at 7 o'clock on Mondays, That's the best way to find it. I'm actually
Okay.
including the link.
Yeah,
here.
Barre City Community Fan Page.
Yep.
Yeah. They do a great job. Thank you again, both of you.
Thank you.
And we'll,
Yeah, thank you.
We'll be watching you tonight, Cody.
Absolutely.
We're going to get up to 66 degrees, they're saying today. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. Partly cloudy skies this morning, overcast mostly during the afternoon, but frankly, who the heck cares? As long as we'll take 66. I love the sound of that. 52 right now. Then tonight, we get into some clouds and some showers, down about 47. Tuesday, tomorrow, it looks like it's going to be a wet one. Rain and 63. We appreciate your eyes and your ears. Make sure, if you like the podcast, to tell your friends, follow the page, give us a like, post up a comment, and a share. We would appreciate that as well. Thanks to Cody Morrison. Each and every Monday morning, the Barre Business Hour, right here on the Aired Out Podcast, live from the ASB Financial Studios and Fly on the Wall Productions, Main Street, Barre, Vermont. And thanks again to Margaret Ferguson from Capstone for being our special guest this time around on Aired Out.